Memoir, Memory, and Mastery. Mi Vas, Mi Vida. Latino college students tell their stories. This book contains life stories written by Latinos that explain their struggles, successes, family lives, and what they've learned. Each chapter is an essay written by a male or female Latino or Latina. At the end of each chapter, there is an update of where the writer is today. Connection to course objective. The objective is to track the roots of cultural diversity in the United States. I believe this book speaks about the Latinos' experiences adapting to their environments and tracks how their experience has shaped who they are today. One writer that I connected with was Eric Martinez. He wrote The Devil's Within. Martinez's story reminds me a lot of a girl I currently have in my classroom. Martinez experienced an abusive home life while watching his mother be beaten by his father. He mentioned, the abuse that my Latina mother endured created a fear that I believe has made me gravitate toward relationships similar to that of my parents. The student who is in my classroom has difficulty playing with friends and expressing frustrations with her hands. She grew up in an abusive household, lived in foster care, and hasn't been exposed to positive relationships in her short 7 years of life. The second writer I related to was Joseph Rodriguez. He wrote Dignity and Doubt. The quote he said on page 49 was, "Being aware of yourself and others and surviving the fight is the best thing any individual could hope for." This quote reminds me of our course reading related to cultural identity and understanding and valuing our students' cultures. In the article, Restoring Our Schools, Darling Hammond mentions how G.W. Bush had a goal for improving education in the year 2000, but now we are further behind than what is expected. It is known that other nations have been transforming their school systems to meet the new demands of today's world. For us, it is important to focus on our students' current state and development because they are all working towards surviving their own fight within. The third writer I related to was Abiel Acosta. She wrote The Double Life. In Acosta's essay, she speaks about how she lived a double life. In one life, she was a partier and well-known around her college. In her second life, to her family, she was expected to become a lawyer or a broker, basically any respectable occupation that allows me to be rich, is what she said. This reminds me of a friend I had in school. She wanted to become a hairdresser, but her family wanted her to be a nurse. I remember sitting with her in high school, talking about her passion and how she was applying for colleges based on their nursing programs. I'm no longer friends with her and she moved away. However, I remember her feeling torn between what she wanted and what her family wanted. In relation to our course, as I researched my issue investigation of family risk factors, I discovered that we need to understand our students' risk factors that are keeping them from being successful. In many of these essays provided, family risk factors have come into play for these individuals. Some of the risk factors are family size, teen motherhood, maternal employment, family composition, residence and mobility, home resources, and parenting practices. Also in our course, I read an article by Trumbull, Rothstein, Fish, and Greenfield. They spoke about learning students' family dynamics. They said, teachers are finding it is a powerful tool for understanding how the expectations for a student at school may conflict with the values of a student's family. The Latinas mentioned in the story endure a life where they didn't always feel understood. As educators, we need to be aware of how their home life rules may conflict with their school rules. The issue and theme of this book. The struggles and difficulties these students were faced with gave them the strength to pursue a better life for themselves. Their courage is shown through each story as they share personal experiences with the world. As an educator in an inner-city school, working with children who endure similar lifestyles as those mentioned in this story was difficult but helpful for me knowing these writers have a successful ending to their story. Coming home from a long day at school and sitting reading an essay or two left me optimistic about my students' futures. It gave me the strength and power to go to school each day and learn more about my students and how I can help them be their best.